Started, and as people join, that's great. So thank you very much for being here. My name is Karen Rizel, and I'm with HART along with Deb Farmer and Judy Alexander, who's here with HART as well. My role is to help coordinate the work of all of you to make sure, answer any questions, be available to be a resource to you, to the different host churches that are supporting the winter shelter this year. So I look forward to just the time that we get to spend today. I see many faces, like Jessica said, of people that are already volunteering at the shelter and have been since January. So thank you very much as we continue. And thank you so much for Trinity for stepping up this year to be a first-time host church for the winter shelter. That's very exciting for us, and we love to see the new host churches who are helping. As you have seen, for those of you that have participated, and this is our fourth year doing this, that each year we continue to try to expand the outreach, who we can serve, but also who we're working with. And the different organizations within Folsom that are a part of making this happen. I believe it truly does take a village. It takes community to do this, and so thankful for each one of you that is willing to volunteer your time. It's very important. So Jessica, who has actually playing many roles already this year too with the winter shelter, and probably has, step in if you have things to add to the thing. Deb Farmer is our supplies person, so she plays a key role in making sure that everything we need is there, and that's especially this year with COVID. That's really important, and we are so thankful for that. And of course, Judy, who is our leader and coordinator of the winter shelter, who is really kind of oversees us all. And so we're glad that Judy's here as well today. So I just wanted to give a brief overview of the winter shelter, kind of the how a day works, and also just put it into context of HART. So I know that some of you have done this before, and some of you are new, but HART, the winter shelter, is one of the things that HART does, the Homeless Assistance Resource Team in Folsom, a nonprofit that we have in Folsom to serve and support our unhoused in our community and provide resources. The winter shelter is one of those things that we do. It's not the only thing, but it's intended to be a place where people can, it's almost a starting point. It's a foundation. It's helping people move, hopefully, in different directions in their lives, but giving them a place of refuge, safety, and security, so that maybe they can start thinking about different choices for their lives. The HART is one of many HARTs in around the Sacramento area, and we are the only one doing an overnight winter shelter this year. So of all of the different HARTs around the Sacramento region, we are doing the overnight. Many of them are doing other things like feeding centers, day centers, things like that. But we are the only one who's chosen to plow forward in the COVID world and continue to do what we've been doing, and felt that it was really important to do that. And so one of the things that we did this year is we, because of COVID, because of the changes that we had to make, we usually went from church to church for 12 weeks. And because of the space issues with COVID, we need to provide a lot of space to be able to do social distancing. We reduced the number of the actual physical locations where we're hosting the shelter to 3. We had the gathering place, which was the first 2 weeks in January. We had Lakeside Church, which was the second 2 weeks of the program, and then at Oak Hills Church in Folsom is hosting the last 8 weeks. And through that period, many other churches have stepped up to be a host site at the church. So we have 3 basic places where we're going. And so Trinity is one of the churches that has stepped in to say, we're willing to host a week during this 8-week period we're at we're at the Oak Hills site. And Oak Hills was, one of the larger physical spaces in town to be able to do this successfully. So the program works that each night, the folks that are wanting to be part of the program, the winter shelter, show up at the intake center, which this year is at Folsom Rodeo Park. And then they are assessed. We make sure that everything's good with them, ready to go, store their items in a pod, which is huge enough to be able to, because they can only bring with them basically a carrying bag of items. They're checked in, assessed, how are they feeling? We take temperatures, and then they're brought over on the bus. This year we have Sac Regional Transit to provide the bus drivers and the buses Monday through Friday. And then the Hampton Inn provides it on Saturday and Sunday. And so then they're brought over to the site. And then at the church site, then at the host site, we provide them meal. We have showers and laundry. They can stay overnight. They get some breakfast to go, and then they're transported back to the intake center around 7:15 the next morning. So that's kind of the overall how it works. And so the role that all of you are playing is at the host site at Oak Hills, once the kind of prepping for the guests arriving, being there, doing all the different tasks that I'll talk about in a little more detail. And so that's kind of how it works. As I mentioned, when it's, taking a village, we have SAC RT has stepped up. We have 4 restaurants that are providing meals for 4 nights out of the week. The Hampton Inn has provided the van. So there's many different organizations and resources in town that are really part of this. And so it just feels like it is really a community event, a community outreach that we're all doing together. With COVID, as since we stepped in to do this year during COVID, that meant that we kind of had an extra layer of activity that we needed to add to our shelter. Because in addition to all the things that we normally do, we needed to provide a place that was safe and clean for not only the guests, but for all of you. With COVID, it was really important that we ensure that we're creating an environment that you feel safe in terms of your health, as well as the guests. So it was, how do we create that space? And like Deb Farmer, who we have a whole supply room full of sanitizer. I mean, we have an abundance of sanitizer, because that's, sanitize, making sure that things are clean. We're all of us are wearing masks. We're required to wear masks at all times throughout our service in the program. And we also have our temperature taken. So when you arrive and you show up for your duty, the first thing that will happen is you will have your temp taken. And if you're